Member for Nelson Creston.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I've been here listening to the Liberals' response to the motion, be it resolved that this House recognize that housing costs are increasingly unaffordable and out of reach for many British Columbians, and that urgent action is needed to increase housing affordability province-wide. I've been listening to this for 50 minutes, Honourable Speaker, and I have one question through you to those members. Are you serious? Are you actually serious about anything you say? Because if you actually come down to the brass tacks, to the numbers, rather than read the briefing notes that have been passed on to you, yes, your constituents actually would like you to see those numbers instead of just reading the briefing notes. If you actually look at them, Honourable Speaker, here's what you find. This historic announcement, Honourable Speaker, historic, best housing strategy in the universe, Honourable Speaker, is $355 million over 5 years. Now let's compare that to what was in the 2015 service plan, Honourable Speaker. Well, that was $418 million over 4 years. Whoops. 1 year less, $83 million less than the original promise, Honourable Speaker, and that was historic. I'll say the smoke and mirrors is what's really historic about the plan announced on Friday, Honourable Speaker. And let's look at a little bit more. For the 2016-2017 year, and I do encourage the members to listen because we are looking at numbers rather than briefing notes just handed to us by staff, $90 million down from the 2015 service plan. For 2017-18 budget year, again, $19 million down from the 2015 service plan. Madam Speaker, we had an announcement that was done in 2015. We have a new announcement on Friday, and it's not even close to the actual numbers and the length of time in which we were supposed to see actual new housing units built. And, Honourable Speaker, what we hear from the BC Housing Nonprofit Association is that if we're actually going to meet need, starting to get to the place where we're actually going to meet the housing need of this province in every corner of this province, not just the Lower Mainland, we need to see 3,000 units built per year. What we see under this historic plan, Honourable Speaker, is 400 units built, 2,600 units short of what's actually needed to meet British Columbians' demands. I think, Honourable Speaker, that this is nowhere near historic. In fact, if we look at what happened in the 1990s, a decade that the Liberals love to talk about in this House on a regular basis, let's look at what was happening in the 1990s. Not 400 units per year. We were, Madam Speaker, I'm pretty sure that the member from Chilliwack ought to know that I have the floor right now. We were talking about, in the 1990s, Honourable Speaker, in the 1990s, we saw the government of the day build 1,000 to 1,500 units per year. 1,000 to 1,500 units per year. That's quite a jump from the 400 that this government is promising. Honourable Speaker, there is no way that what was promised on Friday is historic. All the things that are historic about that promise is the smoke and mirrors that it delivered and the attempt to get people distracted from what's really happening in this province, Honourable Speaker. We see homelessness in this province in every single community. And despite what we heard from members opposite, and despite what members opposite have said on the radio, the member from Fraser-Nicola, when asked about affordable housing, she said she hasn't heard a lot about it in her riding. Well, let me tell her, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Speaker, Aboriginal people, a quarter of Aboriginal people are spending in excess of 50% of their income on housing in her riding, Honourable Speaker. In excess of 50% is a crisis level for an individual. And over a quarter of Aboriginal people are in that situation. 1/3 of single mothers throughout British Columbia are spending more than 50% of their gross income on rent, Honourable Speaker. And seniors throughout British Columbia are also in crisis levels, spending more than 50% of their income on housing, Honourable Speaker. And that's from a study done this November, just this past November, 23rd, 2015, by the BC Nonprofit Housing Association. David Hutniak,
Thank
the
you,
CEO of
member.
Landlord BC, said,
Thank you,
we
member.
need all levels of government to step up to the plate, Madam Speaker. I agree. Let's have a real historic announcement, not smoke and mirrors, because that's what British Columbians deserve.
Noting the hour, member.